Okay, Rachel, great to have you here. Thank you so much for joining, and congratulations on everything you've done with EcoSki. It's a really great environmentally friendly ski marketplace, and I urge everybody to check it out, not only because Planks is on it, but it's got a lot of great brands and a really great ethos, I think, because it's a blend of rental and sale, and congrats again. So I'm really interested with that, with your expertise and the fact that you're at Les Rosiers now. You've just come in off the slopes to have a chat, so I'm very grateful to you for that. And also now that the Northern Hemisphere ski season is coming to a close, there's been a ton of conversation. I'm sure you've seen it and followed it in the press, on the slopes, and certainly around your boardroom table, having a conversation about what, chatter that the sport is becoming unsustainable, it's increasingly exclusive, and that it's potentially damaging to the environment. And what do you think about those charges and what you've read and what you've been hearing?
Well, I think a little bit like everybody, scared, worried, all the kind of the press, they're reporting on their findings, they're interviewing people. Quite often it can be an extreme view, but also they're trying to get it right, aren't they? I know a couple of people that were writing articles pre-Christmas when things were very dire. Even the start of Ski Sunday in January, I remember that first series, there was so much brown, and it was all kind of climate change. I got scared, but kind of the belief that we really can turn this around. And I think I'm the ever optimist in that I think that this season probably has given everybody a little bit of a kick that they need. Not saying that next year will be the same. We may have a bumper year of snow, but it's the ever increasing temperatures and the carbon in the air, that snow line that's slowly, getting higher and higher. And I worry, but I think that there's so much that everyone can do. And I feel that there's there's real momentum in the industry at the moment. I think people know that they have to make change, and I think there's so much change that can happen. There's some amazing companies out there really pushing. You'll know POW. I know you guys are working with Protect Your Winters, and there's obviously the scientists, the IPCC. So we're trying to kind of take opinions from everywhere, and no one really knows. We don't have a crystal ball. I can't say what I think is going to happen. But I am positive and hopeful that we can continue to ski and we will enjoy it for years to come. But I do think it has to change. And in terms of exclusivity, and it's, I feel immensely privileged and just so fortunate to be able to ski and enjoy the mountains. When you think about 1 in 4 people across the world don't even have access to drinking water. It is an exclusive sport. But when you look at it just from a very small kind of sporting pool sitting in the UK, I guess anyone can pick up a football and go and kick it around the garden. And I think the fact that, we've obviously got the dry ski slopes, we've got Scotland on our doorstep, but even it is an expense. But I think there's a lot again in that area. I don't know whether you've heard of Snow Camp Charity. They're doing great things, trying to, and I don't think it is that. I don't think it has the same reputation as it did. And I read an article, which you maybe did, from Jeremy Clarkson. Did you see that one? Kind of, I get what he's saying, and that everything to do with skiing, and again the clothing, which is why I got into that. That to me is an unnecessary contribution to global warming, because of the waste and obviously the polyester that we're using. That to me is something so easy that you can change, and it's so impactful. But in resort, obviously, even the piste bashers and the amount of fuel they're using and everything about it obviously has a carbon footprint, but it's unrealistic to expect everybody to just stop skiing and never go again. Firstly, people that live and that rely on tourism and people operating these resorts. So I do just think we just have to do things better. I think we can.
Well, I think too that the idea of rental makes it more accessible, doesn't it, to a lot more people, at least on the clothing and equipment front. Transport remains a real sticky wicket, actually, but I'm not smart enough to know what to do about that just yet. But it's interesting what you were saying about customers of yours who are very much trying to reduce their impact of their ski holiday, still taking their ski holiday and enjoying it, but really thinking about how they approach it. And I've heard that from friends as well. So something about what everyone's talking about is getting through, I think.
I think so. And I always say every sustainable choice, there is a trade-off with everything. And it's a little bit like that with holidays. I don't do far-flung holidays. I haven't been on an airplane since 2018, and I'll try very hard not to. I think, well, my holiday is skiing, and this is what we choose to do. We drive. The train would be better, but there's 5 of us, and my youngest is still tiny, and I worry about losing her or her bags. So not quite there for the train, but yeah. I think you can. There was another lovely article, I think it was in the Independent, and there was a big trip out to, is it somewhere in Switzerland, a resort, I think Anzer, I can never pronounce it properly, but they got the train out there. They used an electric car for the transport. They ate plant-based food. You know, they did everything, and they came back and they said it's possible. And I think everybody has these choices, and I think we all just need to think, what am I going to do to reduce my impact? And I think that potentially people organizing the holidays I think we just need to try and help people along, I think it's quite confusing for people, and, renting your kit, if you don't have any kit and you're going once a year, is a no-brainer. But renting it and going skiing 3 or 4 times a year is obviously just adding to your carbon footprint, really. I mean, again, I have no idea of the stats, I haven't done it, but the upwards and downwards of the rental kit, if you're probably better off buying and keeping something for life. We've got our repairs service as well at EcoSki, and a pre-owned ex-rental. So we're kind of covering all 4 different areas. And to me, that's the key. And we've got the different runs. So all our departments, there's a green run, a blue run, a red run, and a black run. And the green run is repair. So to me, if you have something, the absolute best thing you can do before you just think about renting or buying is to repair what you already have. The blue would be look at pre-owned and buy. The third would be the red run, obviously rental. And the fourth is the black, which you shouldn't commit to unless you think you can ski it and wear it over and over again. So that's how the kind of ethos of the company works. So yeah, I think there's a lot we can, and I'm positive that we'll turn it around.
I think the world needs a bit of positivity, Rachel. So I think that's very good, because it's easy to get depressed and think there's just no hope, and it's good that there are people who are ever the optimist, because I think you're right, and we all have a choice, right? We all have a choice to make, and that choice, while it may not seem like it's singularly going to be very useful, in aggregate, certainly it is. So
I agree, and every single thing counts, and every degree matters. So anything that you can do. But I even with my EcoSki hat on, sometimes you just think, oh God, am I going to make any difference? And it's just, if we all stand and do this together, we can make change, and it does all add up. And, we have, I think the IPCC say, 10 years to turn this around. And I think we can.
Well, I think that's a rousing call to action. So thank you for that, Rachel. Do appreciate it. And I urge everybody to check out EcoSki. It sounds like a really interesting business model. And thanks again for your time.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, thank you for having me.